Look at this place, guys. This is amazing. This is Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah. I just love open skies. I think that's why I work up there, you know? Oh, I just love this remote boondocking. Look at that. I'm excited to tell you how we've come to accomplish in the last 3 or 4 months $0 outlay for our RVing. And I'm not just talking about boondocking, including RV parks. Now ultimately it's not $0, you've got to invest here and there. Obviously it's never 100% free. Boondocking, this part is, although you got to make some investments in your RV to be able to boondock. So we're going to talk about that. But the other thing is, when I go to work, my wife's staying in an RV park for free, almost. And we'll tell you how we do it. But first, let's get out of the sun here. It's a bit toasty. I reckon up there in the shade next to the cliff looks good. Let's go. Whew. It's only a little bit of a hill, but it's a hot day. And I think we're at a 5,500 feet high here, so a little bit out of breath. All right, let me tell you how we are living rent-free. Obviously, there's some costs involved, and I can give you the overview of our lifestyle right now. Is I work 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, roughly. When I'm home from work, we're boondocking all the time. No more RV parks. We are loving the freedom of the boondocking lifestyle. I mean, look at this. It's not always like this, let me tell you. And sometimes we get ourselves into some curly situations. But that's the adventure of that, isn't it? So, but yeah, when we find a place like this, we are seriously alone. I love it. All right, back to the subject. How do we do this for free? Obviously, boondocking is free. When we're not boondocking, when I'm at work, I want my wife somewhere safe, convenient, secure, with a laundry nearby and shops nearby. Sounds like an RV park, yeah? Well, we're doing that, yes. But it's not costing us much. There are no camp fees. There are no RV park fees. We are doing that through membership. Now, I'm not trying to sell you membership. Don't worry, come back. I'm not trying to sell you a membership, but I will tell you about ours and how it's working for us, and it's working really well, actually. So let's start with the boondocking. What is it that RV parks have that boondocking doesn't? Well, hookups. Duh. 3 things: electricity, water, sewer. So you need to become self-sufficient in those areas. You would have seen our previous videos on my upgrade of the electrical system so that we can boondock. So you've got solar, lithium batteries, inverters, generator, and then you've got an electrical system. So let's talk about that more in depth. The electrical system, how much did that upgrade cost? Solar panels, if we look up on Google, per watt, is anywhere from 30 cents per watt up to $1.70, $2 upwards. There's always people that want to charge you more, but you can get solar panels really cheap. Get second hand. We've got 1800 watts there on Momo, and most of that I stole from our boat. I'm gonna have to bring it back one day soon, but we ended up getting some Calfa solar panels, small 100-watt ones. They were going cheap, and they were going, 90 cents a watt. But if you buy second hand, like my ones off the boat are 12 years old, second hand, works fine. Come on, you could do it cheaply if you wanted to. We have 1800 watts on the roof. We have room for some more. I would say we could probably easily sit another 800 watts up there. No plans to do so, but we could. So let's get this down to a dollar value. 1800 watts. I'm gonna ballpark $1 a watt, 1800 bucks in solar panels just there. Then you need solar controllers. Now I decided to go with the top-notch Victron gear. I don't regret that. It's great, top quality gear, but it is expensive. The solar controllers, I've got 3 of them for 3 strings of solar panels. They were about $180 each. So there's what, 500 bucks more? We're up to 2,300 bucks. Next you need the inverter. I've got the 3000 volt amp Victron. I wanted the high power. It comes with a 50 amp pass-through for when you're plugged into shore power. That's what I wanted as well. And it cost 1,200 bucks. So what are we up to? 1,800 plus 500 is 23 plus 12, $3,500. Now you need batteries, need somewhere to put that power. Lithium batteries. Our lead time batteries go for $1,200 each. They're 400 amp cells, 2 of them, there's 2,400 bucks. Now we're up to 6 grand. But we're not done yet. What about cabling? Switches, the display, the Touch 70 for the Victron, the trusses that we have mounted the solar panels on. Let's easily throw another $1,000. All right, $7,000 so that we can camp for free. Sounds ridiculous, but it's an investment. We don't see it as a cost of boondocking. It's bought us an amazing amount of freedom. It's bought us this. And it's an investment in your RV. If you go to sell that RV, you can easily add $7,000 to $10,000 value for your upgrade to the RV. So we don't see that as a cost, really. All right, so that sort of covers electricity. Let's talk about water. Our RV is fitted with a 100-gallon freshwater tank. The manufacturer states that the weights placarded do not include liquids in the tanks. So you're not supposed to tow this vehicle with liquids in the tanks. And in fact, I've had the belly off this RV recently, and I wouldn't want to carry too much liquid in the tanks without some sort of reinforcement. We tend to head off boondocking with a half a tank of fresh water. We then have a 200-gallon bladder, and that only cost us about 80 bucks on Amazon. 200 gallons, so that's 2 more tanks that I can carry in the back of the truck. Of course, we don't overload the truck, we don't carry the RV and 200 gallons of water. So when we head off boondocking, I've got about half a tank. That's normally about 2 days for us. No restrictions, full showers, dishes, everything. That's about 2 days safely. And then I can add the bladder into the RV. There's another 2 days. So we can go for maybe 5 days before we run out of water. And all I have to do is take the truck, local gas station or dump station or anywhere that's gonna give me some water and fill her up. Come back to the boondocking site. Now, people got their own opinions on what is potable water. I'm a bit of a critic, and if anyone labels it potable water, it just means there's enough chlorine in it to kill everything. And I choose not to drink water with chlorine anyway. So if it's water coming out of a pipe at the dump station, I can guarantee it's the same water that's coming out from inside at the gas station, you know? So I'm not fussy on water that way. I run it through a filter before it goes in the bladder, and then we have 2 filters before it reaches the tap in the kitchen. I will tell you though, the bladder water sucks. It tastes badly of plastic. I've tried using bicarb in the bladder itself to try and get rid of that taste. It's still bad. So what we do when we're boondocking and we're using water from the bladder is it is for washing, showering only, and our drinking water, we're gonna buy the gallon bottles of water from the supermarket, and that's what we will drink. So that covers water. We've got done electricity and water. Sewer, all right? How do we deal with the sewerage while we are boondocking? 2 types of sewerage, yeah, grey water, black water. For those that don't know, the grey is your dishes or your shower water. The black is stuff that goes down the toilet. Depending on where you are, your location, if you're right next to a crystal lovely river or, you know, so lots of beautiful greenery, you don't want to be dumping your grey water. You don't want your soaps and detergents ending up in that river system, for example. But out here in the desert, man, I think this vegetation and these animals would love some soapy water. So grey water, up to you, up to your judgment. There's no rules. Some national parks would have a problem with it, but this BLM land, you can decide what you want to do with your grey water. The black water, that's a different challenge. There's other places where you've got limited hookups. State parks, you might have electricity and water, no sewer. What do you do then? Same as what we are doing here. Bought ourselves a honey cart. It's a black tank cart on wheels. You can dump your black tank into that. Got to be careful though. I think our black tank is 50 gallons and our honey cart is only 36. So you can't empty it all in at once. If you're going to use it, you probably need to use it every 3 days. With our 50-gallon black tank, we know from experience and laziness that we can go a week without emptying. And our typical boondocking is we're traveling. I know there's lots of guys that just go for a whole season and boondock, perhaps the winter in Quartzsite, Arizona. And they got to deal with dumping their black tank all the time. Our style is to probably move every 2 or 3 days. We're on the move and we can go past a dump station. But if we had to, technique we've got the honey cart, we dump the black tank into the honey cart, and then we can tow it on the back of the truck to a nearby dump station. What if there is no nearby dump station? Like here, we don't have a nearby dump. We do, but it's 8 miles. And you can't tow that trailer, that little dolly, 8 miles. So the option we haven't used it yet, but we're ready, is we have a macerator pump, which attaches to the black hose outlet. And in theory, and I don't want to even try this, but I'm gonna have to sooner or later. In theory, it will pump shit uphill into the honey wagon sitting on the back of your truck. And then you take the truck to the dump station. Where there's a will, there's a way, yeah? So, boondocking, we've covered electricity, water, and sewer. What else do you need? Everything else is in the RV. All right, so I think that's covered the basics of boondocking, yeah? And the investment you got to make for your solar system and electrical system upgrade, like I say, I don't count that as a cost because it's an investment in the equipment in your RV, and it's definitely increased the value of your trailer. It's pretty dry, a bit thirsty. How about we go back to the RV and I'll tell you about the next part, which is the membership. Let's go. All right. Now, the second means that we camp for free, full-time RV living for free, is through membership. I can't tell you about all the different memberships. I can only tell you about the one that we're in, and it's working for us, really is. I've heard people say that they regret memberships, but it just totally depends on your situation. We found 1,000 Trails. It's one of the big memberships in the US, and it really does work for us. It's bang for your buck for us. May not work in everyone's case. You've really got to use it to get the value. You can't just buy a membership and then not use it and say, oh, it was a waste of money. Of course it was. So I'm going to tell you how we use the membership, how much it cost us, and our plans for the future with it. So, 1,000 Trails. We started and continue with the most basic membership, the Camping Pass. It is $600 a year, ballpark. They usually have discounts running, $450, you know, 150 bucks off. Just keep your eyes open for the discounts. That's when we signed up with that. That gives us access to 100+ parks around the US. But there's lots of provisos and conditions and terms. Give you a brief rundown on it. They like to make it as confusing as possible so that people don't know where they are and they just, oh, okay, or, you know. When you sign up, you have to choose 2 zones within, I think it's 7 within the US, where you are going to be using campgrounds. You have to choose where you're going to be using campgrounds in the coming year. And then in the next year, you just to choose 2 different zones, or, you know, any other combination of zones. You can also add a zone. I think it's $100 to add a 3rd zone for your year. So that's what we started with. Now, what it gives us is for $600 a year, standard price, a bit over 100 campgrounds to use in the US, 14-day stay for free. The only provision is after 14 days, you must leave the park and be out of 1,000 Trails for 7 days. And then you can go back in for another 14. So we're talking, what is that? 2/3 of the year. If you're in for 2 weeks, out for 1, 2/3 of the year, you can camp for free or for $600. You can also add what they call the Trails Collection. That is a group of other resorts, other RV parks that you can get access to. In fact, it adds another 100 resorts that you can use. It's an extra $400 for the Trails Collection, roughly. So call it $1,000 a year, and for 2/3 of the year, you can camp. No charge, $1,000 a year. There's an investment in the beginning for the membership, but you get to camp for free. And it's been working. You know, I'm not trying to sell it to you. I'm just telling you, I don't know why more people don't use it, because it's really working for us. I work 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So it's actually been ideal. It's been perfect. When we're in the 1,000 trails, we don't pay. When we're out the 1,000 trails, we don't pay. It's working, man. This is how we're getting away with no rent. If you're interested in the 1,000 Trails memberships, there is a next level membership. They keep changing the names of the memberships. There was VIP, and then there's Elite, and then VIP Elite, and then now there's Adventure, and they change it, and they change all the conditions, and you know, try to make it hard to compare them against each other. But for example, the Adventure, please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm probably wrong, but I've got an idea that it's around $8,000 one-off payments, and then you still got to pay your $1,000 a year for the campground park. But what that gives you, that top level tier gives you 21 days in park, and then you can leave and go straight into another park. 21 days. You don't have to be out 7 days. So you can actually stay 21 days, 21 days, 21 days for the whole year for free. That membership, $8 grand-ish. I think it's starting at $8 grand. I think it goes up from there. It could be even in the 15,000. Anyway, it's a one-off payment, and it's for life. And you can will it to your family. You can give it to your family. If you don't want to use it anymore, you can transfer it to your family, or you can sell it. And that's what we're looking at, second-hand memberships. And there's even ones, they're not very common, but there's ones that the second owner can also sell it. So that's what we are looking for. And you can get them for around $4,000 or $5,000. That's what we're looking for now. I'm not going to go into all the nooks and crannies of the 1,000 Trails. I'm just going to tell you that it's really working for us, and I see it working continuingly for the future. It's going to continue to work, and it's allowing us to RV full-time as cheaply as possible. And for some of you, that's not that important, but for us it is. I've got a little bit of my working life left in my career. I gotta try and save some money for the future. I keep buying toys that are too big, and we gotta save some money. So while we're here in America, incredibly expensive country to live in, we're trying to do it as cheaply as we can. And it's working, man. It's working. It can work for you too. Check it out. Boondocking membership. We love being out here away from everything. You should see the stars at night. But right now, we're heading out to the Salt Flats. Do a few donuts. You wanna come? Let's go. Holy cow, I didn't realize. Obviously, I want to minimize the amount of salt that goes onto the truck. I figured, well, it's going to be dry and it's going to not stick. Different to like salt down in the snow. When they put the salt on the road, it's wet and it kicks up on the truck and it rusts your truck out. I thought, no, well, this is dry. But have a look at this. Whoa. It's damp. I guess being salt, it collects the moisture, and it is sticking, and it's everywhere. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to clean this off. Look at that. Look at that. And that's drying on there because of the heat of the exhaust. Oh my God. Oh, I didn't expect that. It's just giving me a whole lot more work to do tomorrow. What can you do? got some big work to do on the RV. With all the hype going on around YouTube with Grand Design and Frame Flex, those videos about Frame Flex have answered some questions that I've had about our trailer. There's at least 2 empty holes. We're going to investigate if we can fill them. So, remember we put the hole in this? That was nearly a year ago. So I've just removed the tape. It's a lovely dry day and it's going to be dry the next few days. I thought it was time I fixed it up. Just trying to even off some of these